of that. Okay, cool. We are live. So I'm putting up a thumbnail, and here's the prompt. I'm using Bing. In fact, someone has been recommending that I start a side gig and do AI art prompts. And I think, do a lot more with Claude and ChatGPT, but I do like working with Bing in particular and Dolly. Isn't it interesting that, Dolly AI, then we have the Dolly boat hitting that bridge, just kind of pointing at the surreality of it all. Okay, Cyborg Pigwin holding a sign that says July 1, 2024, and is standing upon a tank boombox made of blue steel with steampunk components, gritty, realistic, sci-fi movie poster art. I mean, it's kind of word salady. Is it something I could even teach someone? Again, if you're in Discord, just click the IPS voice chat, and I'll be... Okay, here we go. Kevin Mooring, Violet Penguin, hello. I'm just live here for the next 20 minutes, just doing some homework here. Some catch up, some housekeeping, and here we go. I'm just kind of demonstrating how I'm doing these thumbnails. And what I'm working on now is a series of penguinati that hold up signage, which indicate the day. So I don't have the date on this one. It kind of skipped that. But it's totally fixable. So I'll go back to the prompt. I'll put July 1st. Well, it doesn't even have an... I'll put 1ST. Maybe that'll clarify it. But yeah, if you're just getting here, we're going to be using Discord again. We decided that this is a great resource to have. We can build up a lot of content in terms of our research. So there's no reason not to do it. And I kind of stopped because it needs moderation. Unlike Gilded, Discord has this particular issue where thousands of federal informants have been contracted to maintain a certain level of disinformation, misinformation, current thing-ism, where it's always about the current thing. And many of the people who join these groups and promote this stuff aren't even really serious about it. They're just basically contracted to spew memes, propaganda mules. And we're going to go ahead and censor it, because I think we're done with a lot of that. I think a lot of us have just kind of run out of patience. We've run out of patience with the mainstream. And we have found all of the same issues exist within the alternate, which is why we're breaking away into our own parallel media, because there's no fixing it. If you go to ips.monster, get the newsletter, you will also get the live stream notifications where I include the artwork. And the work is going to improve over time. I used to do these tabloid-esque thumbnails with screen caps of all the different things we're talking about, and I'd mash it up. I'm going to get back to that. I want to put more time and thought into that. I was doing some art this morning of people in the morning with their coffee enjoying the chemtrails. Wake up and smell the chemtrails. I should put that on a t-shirt. Speaking of t-shirts, Jake Gibson, Jake the A-hole Gibson, had a t-shirt that said, "Homeless Tweaker Shelter," making fun of the Apollo 11 lunar lander thing. Anyway, that joke was stolen, and he made a t-shirt out of it, which is a way of almost, you could consider that to be something of a common law trademark if you're selling it in commerce. And Anyway, I mean, I think it's very infringing. I consider this joke theft, and we'll talk about this live. But I'm more or less accusing a comedian of stealing a joke that was printed on a T-shirt, that was on a T-shirt for 2 years within a relatively small community before it was appropriated, and so now it's being cited as a joke from 6 years ago with a preface that it has been stolen, which sounds like projection or perhaps even pre-damage control. Like, I'm about to tell you a joke, and by the way, other truthers might have stolen this before. Just kind of a giveaway. I think it's unconscionable, but we'll see how it plays out if anybody really cares. I mean, property rights, intellectual property rights, truth. This stuff does matter to me. That's the reason for our lawsuit. Interestingly, I got a comment, and I'll read through comments today. I got a comment from Tim Osman with an S, who's he's the Bizarro version of me. Bizarro. Well, maybe I'm the Bizarro. See, Bizarro's like the version of Superman created by Lex Luthor, and he's kind of he's still powerful, but he's kind of jacked. Like mentally, he's everything's backward, and the S on him on Bizarro is backward. So you could say that the Z kind of makes me the Bizarro. But anyway, Tim Osman is not accused, but he suggested that I made up this entire lawsuit against Google, that I made up this lawsuit, that I made up Marcus Goldfinch. And I'm like, amazed that he would go this far. He said he's, quote, auto-hoaxing it. No, auto-hoaxing means suspend judgment until you have all the facts. Now, if you don't have the facts and the facts are right in front of you, that's really on you. So I provided some links so he could download all of the latest filings pertaining to this case. And in particular, the one that I shared with him is the latest one, where I have laid out the case that...
What's up, man?
Hey, how you doing? Thanks for joining.
Good, thanks.
Oh, yeah, by the way...
I'm just here. I'm in
yeah, thanks for joining. We're just recruiting.
Bosque Farms, and I'm having a good time. It's rained, and here we are. I'm charged light. So busy.
Did you say Bosque Farms? Is that
Bosque Farms.
Okay, I was just at Tingley Beach a couple of days ago.
Oh, yeah. I'm trying to get your sound. I can hardly hear you right now. I got to figure out my phone right now.
Okay, let me make sure it's not me. Does my audio sound fine?
Good evening. No, it's me or something. I don't know.
Maybe it's the rain.
I'll figure it out. Are you going to be on tonight?
Yeah, in about 20 minutes. I just figured while I'm here making the thumbnail, I would invite people by sharing this on YouTube, and then anybody there can just go to ips.monster, click Discord, and join us. We're going to use Discord again, but we have mods. We're going to have mods.
All right. Okay, maybe I'll check in a little while.
Yeah.
I'm just really busy right now, just doing a bunch of things.
Sounds good. Okay, great. I'm also a multitasker. But yeah, this is recruitment, and the moderators are going to get rid of the stuff that is obviously meant to not only get us censored, but we also want to get rid of content and posts that aren't up to par. And I think we can all pretty much agree that, false flag theory, anti-this, various collectivist political or racial ideologies can all just kind of find their own platforms. I mean, that's what Telegram's for. But we do want to have a collection of research on every, memes, all of our research. It needs to be organized. So we're going to set up rooms here. So I want to have moderators who can set up rooms. Like, we need a room for example, memes, a room for chemtrails, a room for whatever we're talking about, a room for any subject that we're focusing upon, ISS, and we'll just start filling it up again like we did the previous server, and we'll boost it so stuff's downloadable, so it does become a hub. And we did have a very active hub, and again, it was sabotaged from within. I kind of take responsibility for it because I kind of observed it because I wanted to see what would happen. I'm like, are they really, in a very organized way, targeting servers with spammers and then flagging us? And yeah, it's a strategy. So anyway, it's not going to happen this time. And a number of you have expressed interest in being moderators. And I'm going to go through the roles and update moderators, and I'll send you messages tonight so everyone knows that we're on the same sheet. But yes, Discord will be active, and I'll be actively promoting it. Although it's not a replacement for Gilded, because we don't know. But Gilded has been acting a little fishy lately. A number of people have experienced something where it seems like almost like a form of shadow banning, where posts aren't showing up, images aren't showing up, and it's kind of unworkable. And I'm not really sure what the deal is, but I'm hoping we can figure it out. But at a minimum, we're going to maintain Discord because it tends to attract more people because it's the gold standard in terms of features and functionalities.
Well, thank you. Appreciate that. Looking forward to having Discord kind of the way it was. That'd be nice.
The way it was, sans antis. I'm firm anti these days. And that's where our starting point should be anyway. The idea that we should be the default alternate position, that's outmoded and sheep-like behavior. I hear somebody's dog chiming in.
Hey, what's up, Tim?
It's a bad weekend for dogs, the 4th of July weekend. I mean, here, it's nothing but illegal fireworks from edge of town to edge of town, just nothing nonstop, just all kinds of stadium fireworks and stuff. It's like a war zone. Always puts the dogs into panic. But anyway, things are moving along nicely. Yesterday we weren't on, but there's quite a lot happening. And I think Trump just got his get out of jail free card from the SCOTUS.
Yep, he sure did. I heard somebody bemoaning the fact that they were looking at that.
Yeah, well, it's pretty much like suggesting, at least maybe they're exaggerating, but that he's a king now, and he's not even president again yet. But you could say the same about Biden. The idea here. But I'm glad Steve Bannon's in jail. He should already have been in jail for the whole $4 million worth of fake bricks.
What did they get him on? What did he get busted for?
Contempt of court.
Sorry,
he wouldn't respond to subpoenas to testify about January the 6th.
Oh, okay.
And that's because
Wow.
he's one of its main instigators. I mean, I'm tired of MAGAs playing dumb. Like, they don't know that the entire purpose of going there was to disrupt the certification. Like, this was talked about in general Q and Q adjacent circles. Like, I knew it. I knew people who were going, and they had this plan in mind. So it's kind of funny. We're like, we were just there to see Trump, and then Ray Epps told us to run into the Capitol. It's like, that's not what happened at all. And if you're really honest about it, and most people aren't, this is not an honest conversation on the world stage when they talk about it. The action was all staged, theatric, and it was already prepared to go off before Trump finished his speech. You already had people in place, and there's a 45-minute gap. Like, if you're walking from the ellipse to where the riots were happening, 45 minutes. And before the speech was over, the insurrection thing had already started. It was all just theater, and it's just amazing that most people still speak from the perspective of the lie, which is, of course, the mainstream version. And then the truthers and the far right are adopting an MSM plus version, saying, oh, it was instigated by the feds. So they're still not getting far enough to say it was simulated. They're still on team real. This is classic controlled opposition. And it's just like after 9/11. It took 12 years for truthers to figure out how fake it was. And January 6th is being obfuscated the same way. And outside of us and Woo's News, nobody hammers this point consistently.
Well, it looks like it's going to be a topic for discussion once again.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is the discussion is always going to be from the misinformed who assume it happened. And
Yeah.
their only point of
Yeah, you
contention
know it.
is, did the feds make them do it or did Trump make them do it? So it's a false dichotomy, and what it does, this is just a distraction from the fact that it didn't happen. And if you go that far, then you must accept some other implications, such as, well, Trump is part of the psyop entertainment complex. Like, he's not a victim, he's not caught up in politics and power struggles, but no, that they're all part of this staged theater. And it's hard for people to comprehend that reality can be staged on that level. And it's a paradigm shift. And I think once you see through 9/11, the rest of the stuff is easy. But a lot of people are still stuck on January 6th. They can't imagine a riot could be simulated. It's like amazing. It's amazing to me.
It is amazing when you look at the video. It's unbelievable.
A lot of people are stuck on cloud shouting.
What's that?
That's a hilarious new term, by the way.
Yep. Cloud shouters. The people who are mad at clouds, the skyphobes. I saw this term today, and I'm using it from now on because I've got some of them mad at me. One of them told me I need to take my meds. It's like, you got to take
They're
your meds.
so mad.
Yep. Oh, you don't believe in chemtrails? You need medication. So are you telling me that if I was at your house, you would willingly strap me in a chair and force pharmaceuticals and mind-altering drugs down my throat just so I agree with you on some stupid opinion? And he's like, yeah.
Some of these weirdos would. Of course he would. He's weird. Spirit Jordache is weird. He's like obsessed.
And then I walk outside and I'm like all drugged up and scared of the sky like him. And he's like, okay, now you're cool.
That's the guy that was an ex-cop in Vegas, and a French guy. Now he's in France. Remember that guy?
Yes.
So there you go.
26 years, and he offered some insights about how swatting. In fact, it was really helpful of him because he explained how when they tell us that someone's being swatted, it doesn't happen like that. There's no phone call where you order a personal army like Uber. It's more like a judge has to sign off on an order. There's some paperwork. There's no surprise swattings on these politicians like Marjorie Taylor Greene. So yeah, he does have that background, but like many, he's stuck on the chemtrail thing. And I think it's interesting because he's actually backed off from the specific claim about chemtrails, but he goes into well, you don't know about the stratospheric aerosol injection nanobots being vibrated by HARP in order to change the climate and control our minds. It's like, okay, that's a moving of a goalpost or something. Like, can we just stick to the lines in the sky and admit that they're not harmful? But no one does it. I got Witsit Gets It in a bind as well. He's like, well, the reason I can't cite evidence is that the evidence is outside of the view of the public. Well, then you can't cite the evidence. Absence of evidence, cited as evidence. The whole thing about it is just jacked. Because if it was an honest proposition, you wouldn't need to use any of these Jedi mind tricks to get somebody to accept it. Like, tell me the sky is blue. The sky is blue. There's no need to ask 5 questions and cite hidden government documents. And that's where they're at. And I think it's a sick joke on truthers, and they need to drop it. The cloud shouters.
It is a sick joke. Cloud shouters. Like, do they hear how ridiculous they sound? Like, they're citing government documents as evidence and talking about, like, nanobots reassembling parts of our bodies or something and, like, controlling our minds. Like, this is so insane.
But you know what's funny is that he's talking to you in DMs like he doesn't know who you are. See, that's the giveaway. That's the giveaway right there. Like, you don't know who we are, bitch? Like, okay, all right. All you have to do is look up Infinite Plane, whatever. If I act like we're newbie, oh, you're stick to your game. You're out of your game. Guys, shut the fuck up. We're Infinite Plane, bitch.
It's a small group too. We have to think about this. Conspiracy fringe is small enough, but the flat Earth group is so small that anybody who's been making any content is easy to find or hard to not run across. That's why I'm comfortable accusing that comedian of stealing the other comedian's jokes, because these are like in-group jokes that would only be funny to moon landing deniers. And the idea that he hadn't heard this is just unbelievable. But Symbia got me thinking here. Mentioned cloud shouters. I was suggesting that we ought to fake space junk, but I think we could also fake some other stuff, like do our own crisis actors. I would like to have a crisis actor who could pretend to be really mad at cirrus clouds and just have them like on camera yelling at airplanes and stuff, and people would probably take it seriously.
They would. I mean, they're taking it seriously every day on TikTok and other places.
You could do it as a Poe. Just be like, pretend like you're serious about it and open up your super chats. I'll be out here every day calling out the chemtrails, yelling at them, yelling at planes, yelling at sleeping zombies who don't care. They get so angry about it, though, and I think it's a form of virtue signaling.
Yeah, for bored people. I think they're
I
just
wish we could
bored.
get Jake the a-hole in here and be like, look, man, what's up with you? Like, what's going on? Because I was thinking
Yeah.
of using him for shit like that. You know what I mean? I was like, we could use him. Like, he could be like the chemtrail shouter. Like he did the cough on me thing, like shit like that. Man, I want to use him for that shit.
Oh yeah, Cough on Me was brilliant. And that was brave, to be honest. He was one of the bravest persons in the world on that day, where he had like 50 people cough on his face. Back when most people still thought the thing was real. Like he was really putting himself out there.
I wonder if he's seen that his joke has been stolen yet.
I put a video on YouTube and I added him, and I'm trying to get his subscribers to alert him, and I'm trying to see if the other guy backtracks or if he pretends he doesn't know that he's being called out as a joke thief. And to me, it's a matter of principle, because you're talking about a comedian appropriating a joke knowingly. And I'm saying he knew it because before he told the joke, he said, "Oh, before I say this, I brought this up 6 years ago, and other people have picked up on it." Well, Jake's video came out 8 years ago, and he put it on T-shirts, which is, selling it, putting it in commerce. T-shirt. It's part of his channel's branding, and it was popularized before the Flat Earth conference where Owen Benjamin did his comedy routine. So it was kind of like, to me, it's kind of implausible that he came up with it on his own, separate from Jake Gibson, who's one of the top Flat Earth channels on YouTube. There's no way he wouldn't have known this, in my opinion. And he can defend it if he wants, but I juxtaposed the two jokes, and it's just pretty much word for word the same thing.
Yeah, he
Either
totally
way,
did that on purpose.
oh, absolutely, and it's good it's good. We want this action and shit. Like, you take out our enemy of our enemy as our friend type shit. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of these comedians I've noticed are consistently accusing each other of stealing jokes, especially these conspiracy theorist comedians. Like, Dave Chappelle's always being mentioned in this context. And I find it to be almost a conspiracy theory that any of them are actually comedians. Like, are these just feds who got assigned a role? A lot of times, because maybe it's just the content. A lot of these, especially leaning right, but it seems like they use comedians as gatekeepers for extreme ideas, for political footballs on the far, far fringe, more than these are being like organically used as a way of entertaining people. Like, is it really funny?
Exactly. They use those bad jokes as like a way to get the ideas in people's head, like as a delivery for these weird far right memes and stuff. Benjamin is totally a fed.
Yeah, I've heard that a bit, and that does seem to be the case. It's a tactic where they make a statement, they make a claim with plausible deniability. I'm just joking, just asking questions. And I see the same people doing it. Like, I first heard that 5G towers would, basically, in some way, destroy my health. I heard about this from a comedian. It was Eddie Bravo. But he didn't say 5G towers will kill you. What he said was, I'm just saying, I've just heard from some people who've heard some stuff that maybe 5G towers might be deadly. I'm just saying, I don't know. And I'm like, wow, that's a lot of padding, a lot of CYA in advance, and adding in levels of like, I'm not responsible for what I'm going to say. I'm not taking any accountability. And that's what
Right.
and I think it's kind of cowardly. Like, just say it outright.
Yeah, I agree. Super weird, sketchy stuff.
But I think this is part of the psyop because what they do is you have the people who are easy to market to, the normies, the mainstreamers, and they just swallow whole government lies. But the people who think for themselves, the who fall into alt media, they won't take it from the authority. They need to think they've discovered it for themselves. So the authority sends out these agents who are just asking questions, do your own research, they say, and then they lead these free thinkers into these areas where the research is there for them to discover for themselves. So they arrive at the same conclusions. So the normies are told, believe in climate change. And they're like, okay. The alternative minds are like, what's going on with these airplanes? Are they doing something? And then before you know it, they're led to the research and they all agree, hey, I think that they're changing the climate by using geoengineering. So they're led to the same conclusions, but through an alternative mean of discovering it for themselves, which comports with their anti or reactionary nature. Now it's like they're self brainwashing, DIY brainwashing.
Yeah, and I think people's reactions to a lot of these ideas and these memes are like studied. I think people are being psychologically profiled just to make even more of this garbage. Like, what are they going to come up with next? I saw this thing on TikTok today, just for an example. Some lady was talking about scientists are putting nanobots in shampoos now, and like they're controlling you with your hair and stuff like that. It's just like, what are they going to do tomorrow? It's always something new. To see what people will buy.
Definitely. There's an element here, the propaganda, the psyop entertainment complex, there's elements of marketing, and it all goes back to Edward Bernays. So they're selling us on things like 1984, everybody's being spied on, and for years, it was this nightmare scenario that you lose your privacy. Well, what did they do? They sold us on a lifestyle of commodifying our privacy, of making it all public, where now there's no value in the private. You put your family photo albums on Facebook, you go on TikTok, you type out the contents of your mind onto social media, just vomit it all out there. They've destroyed privacy, and now there is no privacy, but there's no need to torture you for it because people give it up voluntarily.
Yeah. And it's crazy that if we're under all this surveillance, if like everyone's always being monitored 24/7, why can't they catch the car thieves? Like, why are there striker cars on Facebook and these people are not getting arrested? I think it's a bunch of BS. Or they're letting them steal the cars for, they could be doing that. Thought that was an interesting take on that. Yeah, this TikTok that I saw earlier, nanotech in shampoo. Scientists race molecular cars for competition in human bodies.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. Contact lens solution is also a drug delivery method, says one of the comments. And the comments are just really, really crazy. Just all sorts of insanity. TikTok is a goldmine for this stuff.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I remember comparing Twitter. Twitter's like the collective id, and you can, read what's on people's minds. But TikTok, it's the visual component. And it's very psychedelic in a way, but it's eye-opening. It's very eye-opening. We're in a collective state of philosophical crisis.
Agreed. Yeah, Twitter is pretty nuts. I have a few different accounts that have different curated For You pages, and it's crazy what shows up on them. One of them is like mostly images and memes, and it's just some of the wildest stuff I've ever seen.
I think it's by
Hey,
design.
did you see the hot Tua girl going viral
That is
with
so
Shaq now?
disgusting. I would love to stop hearing about it, but yes.
Yeah, I saw that. I just thought that's the
Anyway,
grossest person I've seen in a
it,
long time. Gross, absolutely gross.
but so they, so you saw how that she was force memed on the right? Like now it's everywhere. Like it's a meme and cut to all this. Turns out she's like that Oliver guy, a Democrat or
And of
something.
course, she was in Nashville.
Yeah, it's all yeah, it's all fake.
Yeah, I'm inclined to think that nothing goes viral unless it has some kind of approval from the agencies. And a character like that is likely part of the right wing outrage machine, where their whole thing is generating outrage, moral outrage. And the left is always triggered by hate and misinformation. But yeah, she seems like one of these characters put out there. But we'll see. Maybe she'll be like that one who was on the plane freaking out. Then they make their rounds, and these are like inorganic. And there are people who are digging deep into the meaning of it. I don't think there is anything very deep to this one. But I don't care to look. It's just so gross.
I mean, it was just last week. It, she popped up going around. Now she's meeting Shaq and she's doing videos or some shit. So it's all staged.
Yeah, I believe it. We could stage something. Like, I really think we could hire an actor to be our cloud shouter and just have this person creating content. Like, I've even written a few scripts for, like, breatharians. And you could literally hire actors to do anything and people will believe it. And it could easily go viral. I think going viral really is just kind of like a joke. If it goes viral, at some level, it had to have passed some level of approval. Some things will never. But, anyway, that's another one of these characters that I'm seeing all over Twitter. And I'm like, can we not bring this character up? And it's like everyone's outraged by it, especially the right. And it's all phony outrage anyway. It's all posturing. They're not.
Yeah, it's a total plant for outrage, and it's just something to get people talking.
They're so morally outraged that they're going to vote for a guy with 34 felonies who cheated on his wife with a porn star while she was pregnant. Like, they don't have the standing to act like they're actually outraged by anything.
Right. It makes no sense how they believe in all that crap and believe in a man that supposedly did all these things, and yet they want to act like they're some kind of moral authority over anything.
It's just crazy how everybody's just talking about assassinating presidents and shit. It's just like a normal thing now. Like, and now it's just everybody knows about this shit.
Yeah, who hasn't said it? I heard Michael Savage today saying that he thinks they're going to kill Trump in prison. And then Alex Jones comes out with one of his experts to say that they're going to kill Biden and Harris. So every other headline is something like they need a drone strike Trump, Biden can use SEAL Team 6. But it's constantly being talked about. It's not just us. We're not cherry picking. And it totally comports with all of the predictive programming. I mean, they have essentially assassinated his character. They've already set the stage, but we've been looking at this. We've been looking at the props being put into place. Richard Cremo, the 47s. It's just like decades are going into this thing. Decades of programming.
I mean, it's like obvious now. Like, don't they have to do it now or some shit? I mean, I wonder if it's a curveball or some shit. It's like everybody's expecting it now. Like, hey, any day now. You know what I mean? Like they're just waiting for it to pop off. But I
I,
don't know what's okay. So, see, I want to know what they're gonna. How are the people gonna react to this shit? See, this is the thing.
well,
How are the sheep gonna?
they've already created this construct of the radical fringe of unhinged QAnon cultists, the MAGA terrorist. They just shot a MAGA terrorist in Vegas. He's like MAGA Akbar, and they capped him. So there's already this hyperstition that the MAGAs are ready to lose it all and riot, and civil war is imminent if Trump wins or he doesn't win. and both sides seem ready for it. So
See, yeah, and they're using it. They're like, see, they're using it as an excuse to pop off because the left is saying this. They're like, see, okay, well, you know what I mean? Like it's like, yeah, you know what I mean? It's like, how do you describe this shit? I don't know. It's just they want it to happen. It's like, oh, look, you know what I mean? Like I don't know how to explain it, but they're making it obvious.
okay, now part of the
I
tactic
don't know.
here, I think there is a tactic here by referencing it very often, and they call it stochastic terrorism. The idea here is that if they say it enough, then when somebody decides to do it, they can kind of say, well, they put it
Yeah,
out there. It's been
yes,
put into the realm of
yeah. That's
possibility.
what they're doing.
Yep. So they can blame each other. Like, you guys caused this because you opened the window of discourse too wide. You ritually played it out on TV and theater. All this, there'll be finger
And
pointing
the
both
left is
ways.
going to use
Mm-hmm.
and the left will use it's used as SCOTUS. Well, SCOTUS, well, you can do anything now. So it's nuts, man. What?
Yeah, that's another thing. The resentment against SCOTUS, giving him a get out of jail free card. What do you think about this Epstein thing? This is another thing I'll bring up tonight. Nothing Burger. I see so many Nothing
And there's
Burgers.
so
Like
much going on. Well, yeah, there's so much bullshit. Well, which one's that one? What are they pushing now with that?
some unsealed records from 2006 showing more of what we know, more of the same. Julian Assange comes out.
Yeah,
People are all happy. It's like, he's not an auto hoaxer. I kind of don't care what he has to say.
yeah, yeah. Probably not. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
some
just I'm
nothing
just waiting
burger.
for.
There's been nothing
Yeah, I'm just.
with him the whole time.
I mean, the Trump thing. That's the major thing now. They're like talking about it like nothing, and it's all in the movies and Civil War shit everywhere. So they're building up the sheeple's feelings, and I wonder if they're buying it or not. I wonder how many people are really buying this shit. That's what I want to know, because that's still going to determine how fucked we are.
In my opinion, the majority of people who half-assed or don't pay attention to the news, or it's only like 30 minutes of their day tops, they just believe everything, like osmosis. They don't even really follow it until a big story hooks them emotionally, and then they're just plugged into it. They enter the game, the alternate reality game. So I don't have any expectation for mass critical thinking when something happens. 2020 demonstrated that even the truthers, nobody's immune to the Psy-War. When they start pulling puppet strings, it's incredible. But they're going to have crisis actors everywhere for whatever they do. Whether they fake a nuke or a headshot, whatever they do, you're going to have people reacting, celebrities reacting. Think about all the celebrities who are going to be raging online, provoking. And the people who really adore Trump are, far right. So there's kind of like this, it's like a powder keg they've set up, I think.
Yeah, powder keg, exactly. Waiting to blow any moment now.
Not that I think anything has to happen for real anyway, though, because they've created the hyperstition that these things exist. So they could do fake MAGA terror attacks all day long, every day, and nobody's going to question whether it's happening. Just the real MAGAs who aren't part of it are going to be at home watching on TV. But it's just going to be this thing where, sort of like how they introduced radical Islamic terror, and they would ask the moderates, "Why don't you speak out against
Yeah,
it?" It's always been led by the
it,
feds. It's the same thing here.
it's kind of like they're putting the ball in each other's court each time. It's like, okay, the ball's in your court now. What you gonna do? And it's like a back and forth thing now with this assassination shit. You know what I mean? That is talk. Like, yeah, like this Harry guy. You know what I mean? Like the right is now pointing him out. Oh, look, Secret Service go get him, and then on the other side, they're doing the same shit. But anyway, it's like a back and forth thing. See, they're kind of like daring each other. Who's gonna do it first?
Right. And arresting Steve Bannon today, there was just so much fanfare. I think that's so fake. Steve Bannon, I don't buy this for 1 second. And if anyone's like, it's a self-inflicted wound. It's a PR stunt. at best. Total psyop, if in my opinion. But even if it's not a total psyop, he engineered this. This is the same guy who had himself fake swatted multiple times. But it's not a coincidence that, Trump is facing his sentencing, and then Bannon's getting into this, and Alex Jones is pretending like he's being censored, like they're going to take his mic any moment. There's a lot of hype on the right as a marketing tactic. They're always in a state of desperation, which kind of gets old after a while. The Boy Cried Wolf. I mean, how many times has it been censored in the last 20 years, barking about being the most censored? It's like, I don't think you're censored. If you were censored, we wouldn't know who you are. I mean, there are real censored ideas and censored concepts that you don't hear because they're just not even platformed, because they're considered outside of the realm of acceptable discourse, or it's outside of people's realm of, I guess, understanding. Like the whole premise behind Newsbenders. At the end of it, he's like, 99% of the population wouldn't understand this conversation. The other 1% work for us. And most of the population are psywar unaware. They don't know about psyops. They have no clue. And so they don't include that in their assessment. And if you're not including that in your assessment of the news every day, you're not wearing the they live glasses. Okay, so I'm going to be rebooting the live stream really quick here. So if anyone's watching on YouTube or something, it's going to go off and then back on.
Yeah, I was gonna ask. So you going live tonight or what?
Yeah, I just sent out notifications, and we're going to go live here in about 2 minutes. So I'll see you all in the chats there. I'll leave this open, though. Mostly just wanted to give everyone a heads up here. We're going to be moderating some people tonight, and this server will be reactivated, but we're going to filter out a lot of the stuff that got us canceled last time. Okay, so I'm going to open up the live stream.